Hello, friends. Welcome to our channel. Today we are going to learn about ecological pyramids in an ecosystem. You will learn what an ecological pyramid is, what are the different types of ecological pyramids, and how they are useful for us. So, let's get started. An ecological pyramid is a graphical representation of the relationship between different organisms in an ecosystem and their biomass or energy content. It shows the amount of living material or energy available at each level of a food chain. There are three types of ecological pyramids: pyramid of numbers, pyramid of biomass, and pyramid of energy. A pyramid of numbers is a graphical representation of the number of organisms at each trophic level in an ecosystem. In a typical pyramid of numbers, the base is wide and the apex is narrow. The base represents the producers, which are the plants that capture energy from the sun and convert it into chemical energy through photosynthesis. The next level represents the primary consumers, which are the herbivores that eat the plants. The next level represents the secondary consumers, which are the carnivores that eat the herbivores. And the top represents the tertiary consumers, which are the carnivores that eat other carnivores. Each level of the pyramid represents a trophic level. A trophic level is a position or rank in the food chain. For example, in this pyramid of numbers, there are four trophic levels: producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Pyramids of numbers can be used to show the relationship between the number of organisms at different trophic levels. They can also be used to show the stability of an ecosystem. A stable ecosystem has a wide base and a narrow apex because there are many producers and only a few top predators. An unstable ecosystem has a narrow base and a wide apex because there are few producers and many top predators. Now let's see another type of ecological pyramid called pyramid of biomass. A pyramid of biomass is a graphical representation of the total biomass of organisms at each trophic level in an ecosystem. Biomass is the total dry weight of all the organisms at a particular trophic level. In a typical pyramid of biomass, the base is wide and the apex is narrow. The base represents the producers, which have the greatest biomass because they capture energy from the sun and convert it into chemical energy through photosynthesis. The next level represents the primary consumers, which have less biomass than the producers because they only consume a portion of the producers. The next level represents the secondary consumers, which have even less biomass because they consume the primary consumers. And the top represents the tertiary consumers, which have the least biomass because they consume the secondary consumers. Pyramids of biomass can be used to show the relationship between the biomass of organisms at different trophic levels. They can also be used to show the efficiency of an ecosystem in converting energy into biomass. A more efficient ecosystem has a greater biomass at each trophic level because more energy is available for growth and reproduction. Now, let's see the last type of ecological pyramid called pyramid of energy. A pyramid of energy is a graphical representation of the energy content of organisms at each trophic level in an ecosystem. Energy is the capacity to do work. In a typical pyramid of energy, the base is wide and the apex is narrow. The base represents the producers, which capture energy from the sun and convert it into chemical energy through photosynthesis. The next level represents the primary consumers, which obtain energy by consuming the producers. The next level represents the secondary consumers, which obtain energy by consuming the primary consumers. And the top represents the tertiary consumers, which obtain energy by consuming the secondary consumers. Pyramids of energy can be used to show the relationship between the energy content of organisms at different trophic levels. They can also be used to show the efficiency of an ecosystem in transferring energy from one trophic level to the next. A more efficient ecosystem has a greater amount of energy available at each trophic level because less energy is lost as heat or waste. Ecological pyramids are useful for us in many ways. They help us to understand the relationship between different organisms in an ecosystem. They help us to understand the flow of energy and nutrients in an ecosystem. They help us to predict how an ecosystem might respond to changes such as the removal of a species or an increase in the amount of resources available. They help us to compare different ecosystems, and they help us to evaluate the health of an ecosystem. So, this is all about ecological pyramids in an ecosystem. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you like this video, then do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and see you in the next video.